My favorite person slipped on my jacket mid-show. That simple moment unraveled my whole identity. Let me back up. Maya and I have been friends for 3 years. We met through a work thing, stayed friends after we both left that job, graduated into the kind of friendship where you text constantly about nothing and see each other every couple of weeks for dinner. Easy friendship. Uncomplicated. I would have described her as one of my favorite people on earth without hesitation, which apparently meant something I wasn't examining closely enough. The concert was her idea. Some band I didn't know well enough to care about either way, which is my favorite way to experience live music, because I can just be in the room without needing it to be perfect. We got there early and found a good spot, and she was wearing this white linen shirt that she kept worrying about getting dirty. So when it started getting cold, midway through the second set, I handed her my jacket without thinking about it, and she put it on and looked over at me and said thank you. And I had a thought I immediately filed under miscellaneous and did not look at again for the rest of the night. The thought was, she looks really good in my jacket. That's it. That was the whole thought. I filed it and we watched the rest of the show and split a cab home, and I went inside and went to bed and told myself it was nothing, because it was nothing. Except I thought about it the next morning, and the morning after that. Not obsessively, just a small persistent thing like a song you can't place. I'd be doing something ordinary, and the image would surface briefly, and I'd register it and move on. I told myself this was a normal thing that happened with friends you cared about. I told myself I was reading into a jacket. 3 weeks later, we went to her friend Kara's birthday dinner. I'd met Kara a handful of times and liked her fine, but there were 8 of us at a long table at a restaurant with good wine and the kind of warm lighting that makes everyone look like a better version of themselves. Maya sat next to me because we always sit next to each other. Halfway through dinner, she leaned over to say something about someone at the table, and her face was about 4 inches from mine, and I completely lost the thread of whatever she was saying. She pulled back and looked at me and said, "Are you okay?" I said, "Yes, sorry, what?" She repeated it, and I laughed at the appropriate moment and picked up my wine glass and held it with both hands like that was a normal thing to do. On the cab ride home, it was just the 2 of us, and she fell asleep on my shoulder somewhere around the bridge, and I sat completely still for 20 minutes so I wouldn't wake her, and thought about the fact that I was sitting completely still for 20 minutes so I wouldn't wake her, which felt like information. I did not know what to do with this information. Here's what I did instead of anything useful. I googled things at 1 in the morning in a way that felt embarrassing in real time. I texted my sister a question so vague she responded with 3 question marks and then called me. I went for a lot of walks. I reread our text history looking for something I couldn't name, which is an activity I'd recommend to no one. The problem with Maya is that she's affectionate with everyone. Any specific things she did could be dismissed as just Maya being Maya. I'd watched her be Maya with dozens of people. I had no evidence of anything except my own sudden and inconvenient awareness of her. I almost said nothing. I was very close to just carrying this quietly until it dissolved on its own, which is a strategy I'd employed successfully with other uncomfortable feelings throughout my life. I'm good at waiting things out. I'm patient and practical, and I know how to leave things alone. Then she texted me on a Thursday morning. Just a meme. Something stupid. The kind of thing we sent each other constantly. I looked at it and I looked at her name at the top of the screen, and I thought about the jacket and the cab and 20 minutes of sitting perfectly still, and I thought, I am 31 years old and I have never once in my life sat still for 20 minutes for someone who was just a friend. I called her. She answered on the second ring, which she always does, and said, "Hey, what's up?" And I said something has shifted for me, and I think it happened at the concert, and I don't know exactly what it means, but I know I'm not imagining it, and I needed to tell you because I can't keep texting you like everything is normal when it doesn't feel normal to me anymore. And a pause that lasted approximately 1 full geological era. Then she said, "At the concert when you gave me your jacket?" I said yes. She said, "I've been thinking about that night for 3 weeks." I sat down on my kitchen floor slowly, the way you sit when your legs make a decision before you do. She said, "I didn't say anything because I didn't know if you could." I didn't know either. Another pause, shorter this time. She said, "Do you want to get dinner this week? Just us?" I said yes. She said, "Okay." And then she said, "I'm glad you called. I'm still on my kitchen floor, technically speaking. Dinner is tomorrow." I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing, and I've never been less bothered by that in my entire life.